Hello. So here we go on the next page. I had to stop for a second. I had to do some stuff, but here, let me take a smoke break. Been running around, but thank you guys for watching. Whoever's watching, if anybody's watching, but holy. Okay, here we go. A Sanskrit poem and pie. Let's look at something totally different now to suggest that the ancient beings of this world were perhaps more involved than we give them credit for. Figure 1 through 7. Okay. Is a phonetic translation of a Sanskrit poem. It was shown in an article published in Clarion Call magazine. Clarion Call magazine. In the early 80s, I believe the English translation is shown below the Sanskrit. Okay, here's the Sanskrit. Gopi Baha Jia Madhurata Sringi Sodarhi Sandhiga Gala Jiveta Katai Ve Galahala Rasandraraha. Okay. O Lord Krishna, anointed with the yogurt of milkmaids, worship, O Savior of the fallen, O Master of Sheba, please protect. Okay. From Clarion Magazine, Mathematics and the Spiritual Dimension by David Osborne. So that's the guy that published that Sanskrit. So here we go. Over many years, researchers have discovered that each one of these Sanskrit sounds corresponded to a numerical value. It took them a long time to figure this out. Figure 138 shows all the various sounds that are possible in Sanskrit. Each sound has a numerical value from 0 to 9, and some syllables have two number values. For instance, ka, a primary sound, translates as spirit and corresponds to either 0 or 1, depending on its usage, I assume. When researchers took these different sounds values and applied them to this particular poem, a mathematical figure came up that is extremely significant. 0.3141592653589, continuing out to 32 digits. This is the exact number of pi divided by 10 carried to 32 digits. No one has ever figured out how to calculate for the decimal point, which is why this is pi over 10. If you move the decimal point one digit to the right, then it would be 3.1415, etc. The diameter of a circle divided into its circumference. They might have known about the diameter of a circle divided into its circumference, but our culture understanding of who these ancients were, there is no possibility that they could have calculated it with that kind of accuracy, yet there is undeniable evidence. Ka 0, ka ta pa ya 1, ka ta pa fa ra 2, ga da ba la 3, ga de ba va 4, ni ga na na ma sa 5, ka ta sa 6, cha ta sa 7, ja da ha 8, ja ha di ha 9. I guess these are like the volumes, There are many of these poems and many other writings in Sanskrit. I don't know how far they have come in deciphering all of it, but I think that when all is said and done, it's going to be pretty remarkable. How did they do that? Who were these people really? Is it possible that our understanding of them is not exactly correct? Where were they maybe a little more advanced than we thought? This poem definitely suggests this. How old is the Sphinx? The following is also probably one of the most important discoveries on the planet ever. It's happening right now, at this moment. However, it began about 40 years ago with R.A. Swiftwater de Lubicz. He's a famous self-educated Egyptian archaeologist who has written many books. He and his stepdaughter Lucy Lamy have demonstrated a profound understanding in art, scale geometry, and Egyptian culture. While observing the Sphinx, Schwaller de Lubicz became especially interested in the tremendous wear of its surface. Towards the back of the Sphinx there were patterns that cut 12 feet deep into its surface, and this type of wear pattern is totally different from the pattern on other buildings in Egypt. Figure 1 through 9. The wear patterns on other buildings supposedly. So here's that. Okay. So I'm gonna pause it real quick. Pause. Okay. Built at the same time are textured by sand and wind, which is consistent if the buildings are, as believed, around 4,000 years old. But the wear patterns on the Sphinx looks like they've been smoothed with water. According to the mainstream thought, the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid and other associated buildings were built about 4,500 years in the 4th dynasty under Cheops. When this discrepancy was brought up to the Egyptian archaeologists, they refused to listen. This went on for about 40 years. Other people noticed it, but the Egyptians simply would not admit the obvious. Then a man named John Anthony West became interested. He has written many books of Egypt, including Serpent in the Sky and the Fine Egyptian Guidebook. When he heard about the Sphinx dispute, he went to look for himself. He could see that the wear was incredibly excessive and that it did not look like water had caused the wear. He also found that Schwaber de Lubicz did that. He could not get that accredited archaeologist to listen to his beliefs about the Sphinx. So, yeah, my thoughts on the Sphinx and Egypt. And yeah, I've seen plenty of like UFO hunters. This guy that they're talking about, he was on the UFO. He's the one that like published that stuff about the water and stuff. But if you read the Genesis Bible, in the beginning, like it starts talking about there was only Adam and Eve, and then it says suddenly, when the Egyptians, it just brings up the Egyptians out of nowhere. So that Egypt has its own history, and the Bible was just like a story of that region and different tribes and this and that. But I had astral projections that I had been to the Sphinx and stuff like that, but that's like another topic. But it's still kind of the same thing. But what I was trying to say is so all these things happen right in the beginning, and then the Egyptians are there, right? So we fast forward to like Moses' time, and then let my people go and stuff. So we know that's happening, and then fast forward to like Jesus Christ with Egypt, right? Like 2,000 years ago, supposedly. And the timelines don't make sense because supposedly, in the Greeks, like Egypt was like the eighth wonder of the world. Like, it was already old. The Greeks didn't even know what happened to Egypt, and that's like thousands of years. So the timelines don't make sense. Like, Jesus Christ walked 2,000 years ago, but I think these stories happened like millions of years ago. You know, like a couple million, because the Atlanteans and all these different things. So I'm gonna pause it right now. I think I'm gonna go take a walk before the sun sets. So I'll be back.